The Trump administration has been marked by frequent turnover in key positions, and the Internal Revenue Service, or IRS, is no exception. The IRS, a critical agency responsible for collecting taxes and enforcing tax laws, has seen a significant amount of upheaval in its leadership ranks. Since President Trump took office in 2017, 3 IRS chiefs have resigned. This is an unusually high number of resignations for such a short period, especially for an agency that relies heavily on stable leadership to function effectively. This level of instability at the top has raised concerns about the agency's ability to function effectively. The IRS is not just any government agency, it plays a crucial role in the financial health of the nation. Frequent changes in leadership can disrupt ongoing projects, delay important decisions, and lower employee morale. The most recent resignation, that of Acting Commissioner Melanie Krause, has sparked particular controversy. Krause, who had been with the IRS for over 2 decades, was seen as a stabilizing force within the agency. Krause's departure stems from a clash with the administration over a proposed agreement to share taxpayer data with immigration enforcement agencies. This proposal was highly contentious, as it raised significant privacy concerns and was seen by many as a politicization of the IRS's role. This disagreement highlights the deep divisions within the government over immigration policy and the use of personal data. The proposal to share taxpayer information with immigration enforcement was met with strong opposition from privacy advocates and civil rights groups. It also underscores the challenges faced by civil servants navigating the politically charged environment of the Trump era. Many career officials have found themselves caught between their professional responsibilities and the political agendas of the administration. The first IRS chief to resign under Trump was Danny Werfel, who stepped down on the president's inauguration day. Werfel's departure was not unexpected, as it is common for political appointees to leave their posts when a new administration takes over. However, the subsequent resignations of 2 more IRS chiefs in quick succession have been far from ordinary. These resignations have created a sense of instability and uncertainty within the agency. These resignations have raised questions about whether the Trump administration is politicizing the IRS and undermining its independence. The IRS has traditionally been seen as a non-partisan agency, and any perception of political interference can damage its credibility. They have also fueled concerns about the agency's ability to carry out its core functions, such as collecting taxes and enforcing tax laws. The IRS's effectiveness depends on its ability to operate independently and without political pressure. The revolving door at the IRS during the Trump administration has not only affected the agency's internal operations, but has also had broader implications for public trust in the government. As the IRS continues to navigate these challenges, the importance of stable and independent leadership cannot be overstated. Melanie Krause's tenure as acting IRS commissioner was short-lived but impactful. Her time in office may have been brief, but the decisions she made and the principles she stood for left a lasting impression on the agency and the public. Her decision to resign, rather than comply with the administration's data-sharing request, sent shockwaves through Washington. It was a bold move that highlighted the tension between government agencies and the administration's policies. The news of her resignation quickly spread, causing a stir among politicians, journalists, and the general public. Krause, a career civil servant with decades of experience at the IRS, was known for her integrity and commitment to protecting taxpayer privacy. Her colleagues respected her for her unwavering dedication to the principles of fairness and transparency. Throughout her career, she had always prioritized the rights and privacy of taxpayers, making her a trusted figure within the agency. Her resignation letter, which was leaked to the press, painted a picture of an administration determined to circumvent established procedures and legal safeguards in pursuit of its immigration agenda. The letter detailed her concerns about the potential misuse of taxpayer data and the ethical implications of such actions. It was a powerful statement that resonated with many who were worried about the erosion of privacy rights. Krause argued that sharing taxpayer data with immigration enforcement agencies without a court order or other legal basis would be a violation of taxpayer privacy and a dangerous precedent. She believed that such actions could lead to a slippery slope where the government could access personal information without proper oversight. Her stance was not just about following the law, but about protecting the fundamental rights of individuals. She also expressed concern that such a move would undermine public trust in the IRS and discourage undocumented immigrants from filing their taxes. Krauss feared that if people believed their information could be used against them, they would be less likely to comply with tax laws, leading to a decrease in tax revenue and an increase in the underground economy. Krauss's resignation was met with praise from privacy advocates and democratic lawmakers who hailed her as a whistleblower and a defender of the rule of law. They saw her actions as a courageous stand against overreach and a defense of civil liberties. Her decision to step down rather than compromise her principles was seen as a testament to her character and integrity. However, the Trump administration defended its data-sharing request, arguing that it was necessary to enforce immigration laws and protect national security. They claimed that accessing taxpayer data was crucial for identifying and apprehending undocumented immigrants who posed a threat to the country. The administration's stance was that national security concerns outweighed privacy issues. Administration officials also accused Krauss of being insubordinate and obstructing the president's agenda. They argued that her refusal to comply with the data-sharing request was a deliberate attempt to undermine the administration's efforts to enforce immigration laws. The controversy surrounding her resignation highlighted the deep divisions within the government and the ongoing debate over privacy versus security. At the heart of the controversy lies a proposed agreement between the IRS and two key agencies involved in immigration enforcement, the Department of Homeland Security, or DHS, and Immigration and Customs Enforcement, known as ICE. This agreement has sparked a heated debate among policymakers, privacy advocates, and the general public. The core of the issue revolves around the balance between national security and individual privacy rights. This agreement would grant these agencies access to a trove of sensitive taxpayer information, including names, addresses, and social security numbers. The IRS, which collects this data for tax purposes, would be sharing it with agencies whose primary focus is immigration enforcement. This raises questions about the original intent behind the collection of such data and whether it is ethical to repurpose it for other uses. The administration argued that this data was crucial for identifying and deporting undocumented immigrants. They believe that having access to this information would significantly enhance their ability to enforce immigration laws and ensure national security. According to them, the data could help in pinpointing individuals who are in the country illegally and taking appropriate action against them. They claimed that access to this information would allow them to track down individuals who had overstayed their visas, committed crimes, or otherwise violated immigration laws. This would, in their view, streamline the process of identifying and removing individuals who pose a threat to public safety or have broken the law. The agreement, however, raised serious concerns about privacy and due process. Privacy advocates argue that the sharing of such sensitive information could lead to abuses and unintended consequences. They worry that individuals who are not involved in any criminal activity could be unfairly targeted or harassed. Critics pointed out that the IRS collects information for the sole purpose of tax administration, not immigration enforcement. They emphasize that taxpayers provide their information to the IRS with the understanding that it will be used exclusively for tax-related matters. Diverting this data to other agencies could undermine the trust that is essential for the tax system to function effectively. Sharing this data with DHS and ICE, they argued, would be a breach of taxpayer trust and could have a chilling effect on compliance with tax laws. If taxpayers fear that their information could be used against them in ways they did not anticipate, they may be less likely to file accurate returns or comply with tax regulations. Moreover, there were concerns about the potential for misuse of this data. The risk of data breaches and unauthorized access is always present, and the consequences of such events could be severe. Sensitive information falling into the wrong hands could lead to identity theft, financial loss, and other serious issues for affected individuals. DHS and ICE have been accused of racial profiling, excessive force, and other abuses. These agencies have a controversial track record, and granting them access to sensitive taxpayer information could exacerbate existing problems. Critics argue that the potential for misuse and abuse of this data is too high to justify the agreement. Granting them access to sensitive taxpayer information, critics argued, would only exacerbate these problems. The debate continues as policymakers weigh the benefits of enhanced immigration enforcement against the potential risks to privacy and civil liberties. The outcome of this controversy could have far-reaching implications for how personal data is handled by government agencies in the future. The proposed data sharing agreement ignited a firestorm of criticism from lawmakers, privacy advocates, and legal experts. They argued that the agreement was not only morally wrong, but also legally dubious. Sharing taxpayer information with immigration enforcement agencies, they contended, would violate long-standing privacy laws and set a dangerous precedent for government overreach. One of the most vocal critics was Senator Ron Wyden, a Democrat from Oregon and a member of the Senate Intelligence Committee. Wyden, a staunch advocate for privacy rights, called the agreement a blatant attempt to turn the IRS into a deportation force. He argued that it would undermine the fundamental principle that Americans should not have to fear that their government will use their tax information against them. Other lawmakers echoed Wyden's concerns. Representative Gerald Nadler, a Democrat from New York and the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, called the agreement a deeply troubling abuse of power. Nadler argued that it would create a chilling effect on immigrant communities and discourage people from complying with our tax laws.